Today we're talking about dividing decimals. So when you're finished with today's lesson, you should be able to find the quotient when your dividend has a decimal. A couple of vocabulary words that we need to go over. Of course, we know that a decimal represents part of a whole. Decimals are based on a system of tens, so 6 and 2/10 means a little more than 6. When we talk about dividend, dividend is the number that we are dividing. So let's say we're dividing up 167. And the divisor would be the number that we're dividing by. Let's say we're dividing by 8. A quotient would be the answer that we get to our division problem. So in this case, my quotient would be 20 with a remainder of 7. Next, we're going to do two examples. All right, in this problem, I have 98 and 7/10 divided by 12. So I have a decimal number in my dividend. 98 and 7/10 is greater than 98, less than 99. So when I'm thinking about an estimate, I'm thinking about how many 12s are there in 100. I know it's less than 10. I'm even thinking, what about 9? 9 times 10 is 90. 9 times 2 is 18. So that would put me way over. I'm going to go with 8. But the first thing I do in a decimal problem is bring that decimal up into my quotient. If I have a decimal in my dividend, I need to bring that decimal up into my quotient exactly in the same spot where it is in the dividend. So 12 goes into 98 8 times. 8 times 2 is 16. I'm going to carry this 1. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So that worked out well, 96. I'm going to do my subtraction and bring down my 7. Now my problem becomes 12 into 27. So already I made 8 groups of 12. Now I'm going to see how many partial groups I can make. So 12 goes into 27 2 times. Don't forget that decimal, that stays there. 2 times 12 is 24, and that leaves me with 3. I'm going to go ahead and bring down a 0 just to see where I go with this. 12 goes into 30. I know it can't be 3 times. That would be put me over, so I'm going to say 2. And 2 times 12 is 24, and then I end up with 6. I'm going to go one more time because I see this is going to work out perfectly. Bring down my 0. 12 goes into 60 5 times, and 5 times 12 is 60, which leaves me with a remainder of 0. My quotient in this case is 8 and 225 thousandths. So how many groups of 12 can I make out of 98? I can make a little bit more than 8 groups, okay? If I wanted to round this number, let's say to the nearest tenths place, I would say, okay, my quotient is approximately 8 and 2/10. One more example where the decimal is in the dividend. Remember, my first job is to bring that decimal up into my quotient, and I'm going to start dividing. 7 goes into 14. I started with 14 because I know 7, I can't make any groups of 7 out of 1. So I'm scooting over one digit, 7 into 14. And I know that is 2. 2 times 7 is 14. And I'm going to subtract and then bring down. 7 goes into 2. How many groups of 7 can I make out of 2? Oops, the answer is 0. 0 times 7 is 0. I'm going to subtract again and bring down. How many times does 7 go into 25? Let's see, 7 times 4 is 28, so that's too much. I'm going to go with 3. 7 times 3 is 21. I'm going to subtract, and I'll bring down 1 0. Sometimes, these division problems could go on and on forever, but typically you'll get a direction like to the nearest hundredth or to the nearest thousandth or something like that. All right, 7 goes into 40, 6 would be too much, so I'm going to say 5 times, which gives me 35. Subtract, I'm going to get 5. I'm going to stop right there. So this isn't an exact answer, but my quotient for this is 20 and 35 hundredths. Let's not lose the meaning of this problem. What we're doing is We're seeing how many groups of 7 do we have in 142 and a half, 142.5? And the answer is a little bit more than 20 groups of 7, 20 and 35 hundredths group. All right, let's get back to your assignment.